If you've been a coach in the online training space, you probably heard the term niche like 5,000 times by now. But what is it? How do you develop it? How do you properly serve your niche? I'm going to break that down for you, but I got to tell you my story really quickly first. When I was in college in 1996, yes, I'm an old guy. When I was in college in 96, I got a call from home that my mother had a stroke. She had a debilitating stroke. She was actually disabled for the rest of her life after the stroke. My brother called me, Rodney. Got home to the hospital. When I say home, I mean my hometown, the hospital in Winston-Salem, only to find out that part of the reason that my mother had that stroke was because my sister was drug addicted, and somewhere in the Washington, D.C. area. My sister was 13 years older than me, so she was in her mid-20s, I think early 30s at the time. Long story short, my brother took care of my mom. She stayed in the home with him and his wife for many years after that until my brother had a stroke. I'm sorry, a heart attack. He died instantly. Massive heart attack, and Rodney died instantly. My sister had recovered by this point, which is great news. Unfortunately, 2 years after my brother died, my sister died. She drank and she got in a car and she hit a tree in a single car accident, died instantly. My mother was staying with them. My brother-in-law took up the mantle. I lived in the city about an hour and a half away until he died from refusing dialysis. He was a kidney patient, but he was so grief-stricken from the loss of my sister, he stopped taking his dialysis. 90 days after my sister died, my brother-in-law died. I'm telling you this for a couple of reasons. Number one, your story paints the lens of your why. And when you learn that my niche is that I work with moms over 30, then you can understand why through my story. Number two, because I want you to have the experience of hearing someone's story and having a reaction to it. Because you don't want to deny your potential clients the discovery of who you are as a human, right? So let's talk about the niche. So for me, I exist outside my niche. Now, some of you may exist inside your niche. If you work with athletes and you're an athlete, easy fix. You know, if you are a mom and you work with moms, relatively simple also. It's not that complicated. But for me, I'm a guy who works with moms over 30. So how do you serve that niche? Well, number one is immersion, right? If you're working with a niche that's not a group of people that you normally fit in with, you've got to immerse yourself in what they do. And it's really easy on the internet because there's so many great ways to do that. You can follow an organization or a coaching team, something like Girls Gone Strong, or a magazine like Oxygen, something like that. It's a great place for me to find information. Plenty of groups on social media, the internet that you can follow, because you want to pick up on their voice, right? You want to understand the things that they go through, their trials and tribulations. You want to know how they speak, the language to avoid. I've fallen into some pitfalls there as a man who works with moms exclusively. So immersion is probably going to be step one. Number two, you want to make your clients a superstar. Like, there's no use in me going on social media doing sets of push-ups or leg lifts to show off my abs. I've got some abs. Don't judge me. Sets of leg lifts showing off my abs, because that's not in alignment with what my niche is. And sure, it might be entertaining, maybe, but the reality is that I need to make my clients the star. To properly serve your niche, your clients are always going to be the star. That's what's going to attract more people like your niche to your services, right? I always want to put them out front and center, celebrate them, talk about them, quote them, share their posts, make your clients a star. So making sure that the people that you serve who are already in your niche are front and center on your own social media is a great tool in terms of servicing your niche properly. And number three, and this is a big one, you've got to listen, right? You've got to listen in a way that your people know that you're speaking directly to them at all points. I am not going to do a post about chest day on my social media. It doesn't speak to moms over 30 who are, struggling to find ways to exercise, feel a little bit overwhelmed and overworked. But I might throw up a post that says something like the top 5 strollers for new moms who run in the morning. that's going to stop somebody in my niche in their tracks, right? That's because I'm speaking directly to them, and obviously only to them. So I hope those few tips help you guys. Number one, immerse yourself in the niche. If you're not in it already, you got to learn to speak that language. Number two, make your clients the star. The people that you work with, make them the star of your social media. And number three, make sure you're always speaking directly to that population with everything you do, even to the point where people who are not in that population are just totally turned off by your content.